Hey guys, so we are back with some news. Well, technically some news, some speculation stuff. There was this little thing that popped up in the news yesterday, the preview Broly overhaul. Now this is talking about the story events, the original series things that are happening in the game. These two events, so we have the original, the one that came out, I think, this actually came out first, and then the Super Saiyan Broly one came out afterwards. So what they're going to do is this event is set to begin on 12/30, which is obviously this, reset next week, technically in 4 days from now. The two stories, Broly and Super Saiyan Broly from the original series, have been merged and revamped in a complete overhaul. A newly improved map type event that allows you to get even more immersed in the original story. You'll be able to get newly updated first time and mission rewards again. So, if you guys have been keeping up with what they've been doing with the original series sort of story events here, we've seen it for Raditz, we've seen it for Nappa, we've seen it for Vegeta, and now we've seen it for the first form Blue Frieza. All of those units that are tied to these original series story events have all Zenkai awakened. So after seeing that, now this Broly down here, the Fury Broly from the Rising Battle event, he technically is not tied directly to the story events because he's not obtainable from the story events, he's obtainable from the Rising Battle event. But if we scroll down all the way down here, returning event info. To celebrate the revamp of this event from the original series, Rising Battle Broly is coming back. Take on the event and get Z powers for Broly Fury. You can reach up to Limit Break 7+ with the rewards from this event and from the original series Broly. So it does not specifically mention anywhere in here that this Broly is going to be getting a Zenkai Awakening, but I think, what was it, the Gotenks, Legends Road Gotenks, when they announced his event revamp for Legends Road, it did not specifically mention he was getting a Zenkai Awakening, but obviously it was pretty clear he was going to get one. I think that's a similar situation here with this Red Broly. I think it's pretty obvious at this point that him being sort of tied to these original series story events means that he, more likely than not, I'm like 80% sure at this point that this Fury Broly is going to be getting a Zenkai Awakening. And then in addition to that, we are in the week where, we're more likely to be getting a Zenkai than a new banner, especially considering the two banners that dropped last week, right? Gogeta and Broly. I feel like they would take this week to release at least one Zenkai, if not multiple, for this week, because they typically alternate, banner, Zenkai, banner, Zenkai. This week is the Zenkai week, right? So I'm pretty confident that we will be seeing this guy getting a Zenkai Awakening. Something that I've seen people talk about as well is the possibility that this Super Saiyan Broly event is implying that the purple Broly might be getting a Zenkai. I don't think that's the case. People have been seemingly wanting that purple Broly to be getting a Zenkai for a long time. I would not like that. I don't think he needs one yet. I don't think we're ready for that just yet. But I guess I wouldn't be super shocked if it did happen. But let's take a look at the actual movies tag here, because what's interesting about this movies tag is if we take a look at all of the Zenkai characters that are on this tag, which I believe are only this green, Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, as well as the blue Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, I think those are the only two Zenkais that this movie team actually has access to right now. If this red Broly gets a Zenkai, that'll be the third Broly that gets a Zenkai on this tag. And this is essentially going to turn into the Broly tag, because we're going to have the 3 Broly Zenkais plus the new Broly. And then I guess we also have this Frieza and Gogeta, which are very good units. But it's pretty much dominated by Brolys, which is not surprising considering Broly is probably, well, not probably, definitely is the most popular movie villain in Dragon Ball. So we'll see if that actually ends up happening. But what I wanted to do is sort of take a look at the existing kit for this Fury Broly over here. And we can sort of speculate on what he potentially could receive if he actually does get a Zenkai Awakening. So quickly looking at his stats, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to pull up an existing unit that's received a Zenkai. What is he? He's a melee type, right? Yeah, melee type. So what we'll do is we will pull up another melee type unit that received a Zenkai Awakening, and then we'll just compare the stats that they got. Let's pull Demon King Piccolo. Just an arbitrary melee type unit that got a Zenkai Awakening. So let's look at his stats. So his stats prior to getting a Zenkai Awakening at 14 stars, because remember, this Broly Fury is a free unit to get to 14 stars, so everybody at this point, or if you haven't been able to do the event, once it returns, you'll be able to get him to 14 stars for free. So he starts out at 229, 206. Demon King Piccolo is 257, 234. So obviously Demon King Piccolo's higher stats. But I believe, was Demon King Piccolo out before Broly? I think he actually was. Yeah, I think he was. Okay. And then defensively, 145, 142. We have 175, Oh, this is Zenkai, isn't it? No, it's not. It's not. Yeah, 175, 164. So honestly, his stats really aren't that bad. But then when we turn this on, they become pretty dumb. So what do these go up by? Like 20k each? A little bit, give or take, like 15 to 20k each for those stats. I think it's... This guy's stats are probably going to go up a little bit more than that. But let's see if we can pull up one other unit. Let's pull up like 18 or something, like another melee type Zenkai unit. So prior to her getting one, 245, 214. Yeah, hers went up a lot more. Okay. And then defenses 159, 167. Yeah. Okay, so her attack went up a lot, like 245 to 281. That's like 36,000. And then blast attack went up by, what is that, 26,000? So, I mean, yeah, I think once this guy gets up getting a Zenkai Awakening at 14 stars, he'll probably be sitting at like 260k strike attack, maybe like 225k to 230k blast. Defensively, he might be looking at something like 170k to both defenses or something like that, so it's not bad. And then the main ability draws the Ultimate Arts card Angry Force, restores on health by 20%. I think at the very least he will be getting 20 ki recovery on there, or 20 ki recovered on there, as well as probably some kind of damage buff. Because I think this guy's pretty much just, you know, the way that he's been designed prior to Zenkai Awakening, he's more of like a beat stick type of unit. And then the unique ability, Rising Power, is the first one's Rising Power. 5% of damage inflicted for 10 timer counts. Every time this character uses a Strike Arts card, additional 5% of damage inflicted for 10 counts if character Goku or Vegeta is an enemy. All they really have to do about this is just make this like 10%, and then maybe increase this to like 12 timer counts. I think the extra 5% coming from this is fine as is, because remember, everything that they change on here in terms of percentages is already going to be amplified by the fact that his stats are going up as well. So I think maybe increase this to 10% and then this to 12 seconds, and then that's probably good enough for this. The second one is Chaining Power, applies minus 20% of damage received to allied episode sagas in the movies for 10 timer counts, and 20% to their damage inflicted for 15 timer counts when this character is switched to standby. So that is more obviously of a support type ability there. So this is actually interesting because I believe, are there even any other characters in the game that actually give damage cut to allies? I don't know if there are. That's actually a very, very powerful ability. And honestly, I don't know if they need to change the value on that buff at all. I think if they were going to change anything, it would probably be more so with the duration. I think if it was me designing this, because that's a very, very ridiculous, buff. Because I'm trying to think like that in combination with Green Zenkai Broly, right? Green Zenkai Broly is already a very, very, stone wall-y type of unit that's not going to take a lot of damage. So if you pop like that Green Broly's green card, he's going to get the damage reduction from there, paired up alongside with this damage reduction. Like, you don't need more value from this; you need more time. So I would like to see this go up to maybe like 15 seconds, and then maybe increase this to like 30%. That's all they have to do. They don't have to do anything else. Like, make this 15 seconds and then make this 30%. Their damage received, or sorry, inflicted for 15 timer counts. And then in addition to that, obviously he's going to pick up 2 more unique abilities. What does he need? Like card draw speed, I think would help him a lot. I think maybe... because the thing with card draw speed is you really want to have it right when you enter the battlefield. I hate the uniques that are like, oh, gains card draw speed after like 10 counts after being switched in. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't really help me. Maybe like something similar to how, I'm actually going to talk about this guy in 1 second, but similar to how this guy has like this kind of unique ability where if he takes damage, he gets stronger. So maybe the lower health he has, he does more damage, or every time you receive damage, you increase your damage dealt by like, X% for X timer counts. Stuff to make him more of like a bruiser, beat stick type of unit, more than he already is right now, because that's what he was designed to be anyway. Strike is normal, blast is normal, special move is Anger Shout, major damage, and then minus 50% to enemy sustained damage cut. for 25 counts. Okay. This is effects when changing cover. Maybe just make this just to all sustained damage cut effects, so even if they're not changing cover, that still applies. And then the green card is 20% strike damage inflicted for 20 counts. Inflicts enemy without you downgrade plus 20% of blast damage received. Honestly, that's not too bad. The only thing I'd probably change about this is keep this the same, I think, but then make this plus 20% to all damage received. The only problem with this is that it's only the current enemy, right? It's not all enemies. If they made this all enemies and then all damage, that would be crazy. The only reason why I really don't like the blast damage received portion is because his team, the movie's team, is still, to this day, very strike-based. Like, this Broly strike-based, this Broly strike-based, this Broly strike-based. And guess what? The new Broly is also strike-based. So is Blue Gogeta. He's also strike-based. So, pretty much all the better units on this tag, besides for Frieza, are all strike-based. So, the fact that you're debuffing the enemy to be taking more blast damage is fine, but it's not preferred. You'd rather just be all damage or just, honestly, just strike damage. And then the ultimate skill is Angry Force, deals massive impact damage, 20% chance to inflict feint, blast armor. Honestly, that's already pretty good. The only thing I guess they could add, I personally don't think they need to change anything about this, but if they were to add something to it, maybe like you ignore some percentage of sustained damage cut on here while you activate it. That's it. He also holds 2 strike cards, which is very, very good, especially when paired up with the new Broly that came out. So honestly, this guy could be very good if they do it correctly. Assuming he doesn't get a Zenkai because it's not confirmed yet. But I think it's pretty apparent just based off of the preview here. The last thing I want to do is quickly talk about this guy. Again, I don't think he's going to get one. His stats when he's transformed at 14 stars. At this point, I think a lot of people do have him at 14 stars because he was one of the limited units that was available in the ticket pool on the current banners, the Gogeta and Broly banners. And I feel like a lot of people pulled a ton of this guy. Already pretty good stats here, defensively and offensively. He is the only transforming unit in the game to have a special or an ultimate. Like, this is already ridiculous. Feint, Ki recovery, massive, and blast armor. Like, you don't need to add anything to that. His special move is good. The only thing with that is it's a little bit slow, so you can't really catch people sidestepping with it because they can just sidestep again and get out of it. The blast armor is what makes him really oppressive. Have they ever? I guess the only other unit that they've Zenkai that has blast armor is Blue Cooler. Yeah, I think that's it. But the fact that he has card draw speed from here and damage inflicted, like, that's all you need as a Zenkai unit to be oppressive, as we've seen with Zenkai 18. Like, imagine Zenkai 18 with blast armor. That's pretty much what this unit would be. Obviously, he wouldn't get the effects from the enemy switching out, but, you know, I feel like there's other units that deserve a Zenkai before this guy gets one. And I get that, you know, this is the, you know, the Broly movie themed sort of celebration to go along with this guy getting one. I would rather them wait until next year. Just personally speaking, we already have a very, very good Dragon Ball Super Broly that just came out like a week ago. I don't think we need this guy getting one right now. Like, they should wait a year for the movie anniversary to come around next year, and then maybe at that point this guy will be ready to get one, because right now I don't think we need yet another ridiculous purple Saiyan in the meta. So yeah, that's my opinion on this. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if they did give this guy a Zenkai yet, or right now, because, you know, at this point, whatever, anything can happen. But I think in terms of what I would like to see, I think this guy, you know, another free unit that's, you know, completely free to play, getting a Zenkai and making him, you know, very viable, making the movies team very viable. I think that's what we need to see at this point. So that's what I would like to see. You guys can let me know down below what you think about the prediction that I made. Do you guys think we're going to get him? You guys think he's going to Zenkai or not? At least it's content at the very least, right? They're revamping this. They're making it its own thing. Hopefully some new equips to farm, missions to do, free crystals. Always a good time. So hope you guys enjoyed this little discussion. Again, let me know down below what you think. And I'll see you all in the next one.